Hi everyone, we are doing a very interesting story time today. Okay, so I was gonna name this like the time I met a reptilian, but since I don't have like 1,000% definitive truth, I'm not going to put that. So I'm gonna put the time that I met an energy healer, I don't know, because I don't know if he was healing, but he definitely knew how to tap into energy worker. I'll just say energy worker, and how that related to a dream that I had. So there was a day. Wait, okay, when was this? Because I think this was right when I found out I was pregnant. So this was I think this was late 2017. Yeah, I believe this was late 2017. Okay, so like November, December 2017. So, oh goodness. It was one of these days where I was just ready to get some mom time, because at that point, I was pregnant. We had 2 kids, and then I was pregnant and we had 2 kids already. And this is the time when we were doing a stint where we were living in hotels, trying to get on our feet, and so we were living in hotels, and I was pregnant at that time. And so I went downtown New Orleans just to like walk around and kind of just clear my head. And I also had the strong feeling that I wanted to go and buy like a lottery ticket downtown, which I didn't end up winning anything, but it was cool though. But I mainly went to go walk around and just like clear my head, because of course living in hotels with kids is a lot. And then just life is a lot. And it was just one of those days. So I was walking downtown, and this was during the day. And I felt this really strong pull to go to, what is it called? St. Louis Cathedral. So if you go to New Orleans, then you know that there is a huge church. And I think it might be the oldest church in Louisiana, maybe. It's called St. Louis Cathedral, and it's like the main church in New Orleans, but I also think like in Louisiana, it's just like the oldest church too. So a lot of history in this place. And so the church is like in the middle of the French Quarter. And the really funny thing about it, which I didn't even realize until like I kind of got into this side of spirituality, religion, and things like that. Like, I didn't even realize how New Orleans it is, okay? So in front of the church, there's literally like a kind of courtyard, well, kind of cobblestone pathway, we'll say that, in front of the church. And then there's like a park behind there, which is where they used to auction off slaves. But now they've turned into this really beautiful sight to see park, whatever. And so in this pathway, there's always tarot healers. You can get tarot card readings. You can get and it's like usually like a few of them, like at least like 4 or 5 sitting there. There's also artists there, so you can buy paintings, and sometimes there's like tap dancers, street performers, homeless people, definitely. But right in front of the church, you can go there and get tarot readings. It's like such a New Orleans thing. And so that's when I decided to go over there. And sorry, I'm congested dealing with that. There's been a little something going on with the kids, so now I have it. Woo! So I'm sniffling. But anyways, so you can get a tarot card. So I went over there, and there's a specific guy over there who I would not have normally sat down at his chair, because he was definitely giving reptilian energy. Now, at this time, I did not know too much about the concepts of reptilians or star seeds or anything like that. Now, let me put an asterisk mark, because that doesn't mean that I had not had experiences with entities and energies and stuff like that, but I did not have a name to it, and I didn't know the specific ones and all of that stuff. Okay? So I want to be specific about that, because the naming and, kind of putting it in order and stuff came much later. Okay? So he was definitely giving me strange vibes. I remember that his skin was almost kind of see-through, when white people, they get older and their skin can become very see-through, but he wasn't like a much older gentleman, like maybe in his 50s, maybe mid 50s or something. I mean, maybe it could still be normal, but he also had these kind of red sores over his body. And it just was a interesting thing. And he looked like Crocodile Dundee to me. He was in like the safari hat and stuff like that. And there's just something about his energy that it was giving reptilian. In my head, I kept thinking, this guy, like, just looks lizardy to me. Like, something about him looks lizardy to me. But I got a strong pull to go over there to him to get the reading. And like I said, it was not somebody that I would have normally sat down. So at that time, I didn't have a whole lot of money. And so he said, it's perfectly fine. You sit down and you just give me what you can offer. And so I gave what I can offer, and he started the reading, and he read me to filth, child. I'm not going to lie to you. He was reading really deep and really personal things, and it was not just, run-of-the-mill tarot card stuff. Like, it was very detailed, and I was actually spooked when he told me that. When he actually did the reading, I was actually really spooked. And I actually was about to get up from the table because I didn't want him to say anything else out loud. And it's not, like anything negative or like anything really negative, but it was just like personal things that I had experienced either in college or childhood and stuff that, like, I didn't realize we were going to go that deep. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know we were about to go this deep. And it was like one of those things I'm like, wow, I'm like really exposing my energy field to this like complete stranger. And sometimes I really don't even care about that. But this person specifically, I just felt like, okay, let me definitely do a stopping point somewhere. And so he was like reading my life. And then he was like, so let's get to your life purpose. And he was like, the cards, and he was like, I like to be cautious about this because sometimes it can mean a lot of different things. But this particular, let's say, like, array of cards for him meant that the person he was talking to could be what we term to be a light worker. So in this sense, what I'm saying that a light worker is someone who was in some type of way sent to the planet to help out with something. Okay, and I'll probably do a whole video later on light workers, shadow workers, extraterrestrial things, because a lot of the time it's like made to sound really, really wild and crazy, when actually, like, if you logically think about it, even though it's like an illogical universe, to be honest, but if you kind of sort of think logically about it, it definitely makes sense that these things exist. So I'll get into that in another video, but he was like, this arrangement could mean that you are a light worker. And there's a push for you to, really get onto your path because you're slacking. And I was like, oh, well, thanks. Well, thank you. And he made it a point, which I thought was interesting because I kind of felt the same thing. He was like, certain people might be at a certain level and that might be okay for them. But he was like, you need to be above that. You have a higher, let's say, expectation, I would say. So, where one person could do mediumship and like them just connecting to spirit and talking to people about the impressions they're feeling, that might be good for them, but we need you to be full blown, like the apparition, speaking to the apparition, getting the information, talking to them, and then relaying it, so that there's no kind of mystique between who you're talking to, what they're saying, and what's going on. So it's like different levels of stuff. And he was like, pretty much like, you're slacking. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, as if I don't have enough pressure on me. And, you know, just like in life in general, as if I don't have enough going on, now they want me to like power up and be like, you know, mind reader 5,000, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, cool, like whatever, you know, Capricorn vibes, it's a thing. Like that's like your whole life, like you're just, it's just your whole life. So anyways, whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. So he was like, I'm gonna do a little test, okay? I'm gonna do a little test and we'll see if that's what they're talking about, because he was like, a lot of people, you know, might have heard that they're light workers, might feel that they're light workers, but I can usually tell the difference between who is and who's not based on their energy. And so I had kind of heard about energy healing and like Reiki, very surface level. So I knew that, you know, there's different ways that people could play with energy fields and stuff like that. But honestly, there were a lot of times in life where I felt like rushes of energy, or like someone touched me and I was able to transfer energy. Not a lot of times. I'm not going to say none, because I have had some times where I felt like I did help someone heal something, and things like that, but just not a lot. So it felt kind of random to me. Like, I don't know. So I'm sitting down and this man comes over and he's like, okay, hold out your palms and place them on your legs. And so I'm like, okay, cool. And so he was like, I'm going to touch the back of your neck. And if you are an energy worker, an energy healer, you'll feel a rush throughout your arms, especially at your palms, right? And so I promise you, I wholeheartedly was not expecting to feel like much of anything. Like maybe like a tingle in my palms or something like that. Like I just wasn't having a whole lot of expectations, which is why I really like the Virgo aspects of me, because I can be very much a skeptic. And then honestly speaking, like I promise you, honestly speaking, when someone proves me wrong, or like I have zero expectation and then it like far exceeds my expectation, it's like the best feeling of like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that this actually is a real thing, because I was really skeptical. Like I did not think it was a real thing. So anyways, he touched the back of my neck, child, and I felt a rush all over my entire body. It was like an overwhelm of things. And it wasn't emotions. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about literally it felt like rushing water throughout my body. Like, you know, when you're in a river or you're in a sea or something like that, and the water is moving fast and you feel that, you know, those waves over you or rushing past you. That's exactly what it felt like in my body throughout my whole entire body. And I actually jumped back and I was like, what is this? I'm like, I could feel it in the back of my head. I could feel it rushing down my face. I could feel it through my arms, my legs, my toes. Like I literally felt like the Energizer Bunny. And then he was like, okay, I'm going to shut it off, because you're going to short circuit if you just have all this rush of energy coming back and you leave it on. I promise you, he literally touched the back of my neck and it was gone. And I was like, literally, how did you do that? And he was like, well, the mind is the powerful thing. He was like, you're an energy healer, and this is part of what they're talking about, that you are going to have to, on your own, work through the trauma, because through trauma, you have shut this off. And that is what is slowing down your progress now. And I was like, what? I'm like, what? And he was like, yeah, you have shut off your energy. You've shut it off. And he was like, and the good thing about it is that, it's a normal trauma response. People who go through a lot of trauma, they shut it off. But the good thing is that you can shut it on. I mean, you could turn it back on. And so I was just like in disbelief. I should have just like ran away and like short circuit or whatever and just figured it out. Because I still don't have it like on like that. And so I'm like, what? Now, the interesting thing, so he was like, you definitely need to be studying Reiki, which I still have not studied Reiki, to be honest. I haven't even looked at it at all. He was like, you definitely should be doing Reiki, and you definitely should be doing energy healing. And I still haven't done it, to be honest. I haven't, I know. But I probably will at some point in time, but I have not. So fast forward to, I don't actually know when I had this dream. This might have been in 2020. I think this was in 2020. I had so many like super deep, really clear dreams in 2020. But in 2020, I had this dream where I was outside of this event hall, okay? And it was a really beautiful event hall. It had, the really warm tones outside. And then I remember seeing a lot of my classmates from high school. So I went to all-girls school in New Orleans. And it was a Catholic school, okay? So I saw a lot of people from my high school in New Orleans outside of this event hall. And everybody was super dressed up, super nice, and super modest, of course, because it's a Catholic school, right? It's a Catholic school, super modest and stuff. And so I ended up seeing, like, my group of friends that I had in high school. And we were all talking and laughing and, like, we were, like, catching up with each other, right? And so everybody started going inside. And for some reason, I decided to just like hang outside for a while. So when I hung outside for a while, my friends had gone in. Everybody was like going to go get a table so we could all sit together and everything like that. And when I sat outside for a while, there was a different group of girls who I knew, but I didn't really like sit with them or, like they weren't people that I really closely associated with. And they started asking me if I had seen another girl from our high school. Okay, so this girl, I'm going to give her a different name because she actually exists in the world. So I don't know why, but I want to call her Rice. So I'm going to call her Rice. Okay. So they were like, Rice is missing. Rice is missing, and we actually haven't seen her in like 3 weeks. And so I'm like, what do you mean you haven't seen her in 3 weeks? And they're like, yeah, she's been missing for like 3 weeks. Did you happen to see her? Because we're all supposed to be going to this assembly, and all of the girls from our school had to be at this assembly. It was mandatory. And so I was like, I have not seen Rice. And they were starting to get like anxious, like really scared that they hadn't seen Rice. And so I'm like, why are you so terrified? And they were like, you've been away for a while and a lot of things have changed. And so I was like, okay, what has changed? And so she was like, they have cracked down on a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff that you can't do anymore. And this is when Rice suddenly appeared. Okay, and so everybody's like, oh my gosh, Rice, where were you? And so she showed us that she had crystals in her pocket. And it was like more than half of the girls like gasped, and they like ran inside. And I was like, why are they afraid of these? Like, is it not a thing anymore? And that's when I started seeing like this overlay of like more ancient times. So I don't know exactly what ancient times, but like definitely in like the thousands. So like 1600s or 1500s, something like that. And it was like an overlay of another school that a lot of us had been in together. And we used to be able to have crystals and, different things in class. And they were teaching us about energy work. And so in this modern time, for some reason, the rules had changed, and so we couldn't, bring crystals or any type of spiritual tools like tarot cards, divination, runes, nothing, which of course at this school that we're in, that never even came up that I know about. I hadn't even heard of any of that stuff at this time while in high school. And so since I didn't run away, Rice was sharing her crystals with me, okay? So I held them. It was like 10 crystals, okay? And most of them were different crystals. And when I held them, I was like, there's nothing really in these crystals. I was like, it took me holding all of those crystals to get even a little bit of feeling in my hand. And I was like, where has all of the energy gone? And she was like, that's what I'm trying to find out. And I'm like, Rice, where did all the energy go? I'm like, these crystals don't have any power in them. Where is the power? And when I was asking her that, that's when I started having this very vivid, lucid memory of being with a group of girls, and we would even bend down to talk to flowers. And you could feel the electricity off of the flower. You could feel it. You could put your hand on the ground and you could feel the energy of the earth interacting with your hands. You could feel the charge throughout your whole body with the crystals. You could feel the energy within the crystals. And I was like, oh my gosh. Part of it is that I am shut off, but it's also I've shut off because there isn't a energy exchange anymore. And so when you're full of energy and you're touching someone who is either shut off or doesn't have any energy, you can over-energize them and hurt them a little bit if they don't have their own, electric field. Then you would be transferring all your energy into them, and that could be a shock to their body. It could short circuit them kind of. And so I was like, wow, this is crazy, because I forgot that there used to be a magnetic exchange between the crystals, between the ground, between the trees, throughout all these things. And I remember as I was coming out of that dream, I was like, where did all the energy go? Because, that would mean that there's not that much energy in Earth itself, because, right, crystals are natural occurring, just for the sake of term, rocks, and they have different formations in the ground, and a lot of the energy source would be coming from the planet. So I'm like, where's the energy of the planet at? Because this is not what I remember. So, yeah, that's something that I've definitely been working on and trying to see how to turn this rush of energy back on and things like that. And I could say I have not been super successful so far. And to be fair, I haven't really been making that a priority either. But anyways, yeah. And then I guess it also could be that we are just desensitized to the energy, that the energy hasn't gone anywhere. It could also be that maybe we don't know how to pull the energy back through the crystals or something again. I'm just saying, that's what I interpreted it to be, but I don't know if that's exactly what it was, because I couldn't exactly remember. Why are both of the police pulling up over here? I couldn't exactly remember, how things went away, right? Because when you have it, you're not even worried about how it works or anything, because it just works a certain type of way, right? So I couldn't remember how it went away. I didn't remember that whole period of whatever. And so then after that, I had a series of dreams about being able to make plants grow and, feeling this energy sensitivity again. So even though it was a strange experience with this man, this alleged man, because he looks straight like Crocodile Dundee, and I just know he was reptilian or something like that. His energy reminded me of a raptor. But yeah, it definitely opened me to something, and I have not been able to do that yet. But that's okay, because I know it's a process, blah, 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 whatever. So yeah, and then I do want to mention, I'm not sure how this is connected, but so I'm actually doing like the last part of this. Maybe you could probably tell too. The last part of this, it's like a month later, and I'm going back and like finishing up my podcast so like I can post them. So you might be able to tell, and I'm not trying to hide it, but I was just, trying to make it seamless for the listening ear. So anyways, I'm going to be doing that often. Well, maybe not as often because the baby is finally in school. Oh my gosh, like 2 days ago, the baby is finally in school. Okay, anyways. So this recording that I'm doing, like you won't see the name of the recording because I'm going to name it something, but it's actually 112. And do you guys remember the group 112? Because that has been showing up in my dreams. I feel like maybe I've mentioned this in another podcast too, but this is actually why I decided to stop on this one today. Ooh, and it's 4:17. And in one of my dreams, they told me that 517 hertz is good for money. And I don't know in what capacity is good for money. So I am doing subliminals. I'm listening to subliminals, and then I'm going to be working on a subliminal channel. So with my husband, and we have another person we're going to partner with. So we're going to start doing affirmations and subliminals under music. That's going to be big, okay? So anyways, I'm 417 hertz. Wait, I just went like all around town. Now I forgot what I was saying, y'all. I was definitely talking about something, that's for sure. Like if I had to guess, it was definitely me talking about something. Okay, I forgot what it was I was talking about. Wait. 417 hertz. And what was that connected to? Oh, 112. Yeah, thank you. 112. So like 2 or 3 days ago, I woke up and I kept singing in my head, but you won't know unless you give it a try. Okay, don't focus on my vocal. Okay, my vocal range. That's not the point here. Oh, look, a black charger. And he's doing weird things with his car. It's cool though. I don't know why he did that. And that's a very interesting looking. For some reason, this Dodge Charger, it looks like a fish to me. I don't know what type of fish it looks like, but it looks like, oh my gosh, is there something called a dogfish? I feel like I saw that in E5. Child, I know. And he's got chrome handles on his car, and I promise you it says EFA $4 million. Shout out to you if that is your license plate, because I just put your whole license plate online. Shout out to you. And Ramiel, you better get up out of here. There's another car that just passed, and it says Ramiel on the back. Ciao. I'm about to go. I'm about to get out of here, guys. Okay? His car literally says Ifa, and then the other guy's car says Ramiel, and there's this guy who was talking about the Archangel Ramiel, right? Because Ramiel has Ra in it, and how Ramiel was actually the first angel created, or he was God or something like that. I don't know. I can't exactly remember. I would have to like really sit down and like trace my memories back, and I just don't feel like doing that right now. But hold on, because I feel like there was a cartoon about a dogfish. Like, I know that is a thing. There's a cartoon about a dogfish, or something about a dogfish. Oh, a dogfish looks like a shark. Squalidae, more commonly known as dogfish or dog sharks or spiny dogfish, are one of several families of sharks categorized under squaliforms, making it the second largest order of sharks, numbering 119 species. Whoa. That's my number for the ancestors and the Gede. Okay. What does squalid have to do with Starry Night? Somebody just posted something about, what does that have to do with the painting Starry Night? I don't. Oh, that's random, I guess, but okay. Anyways, yeah. All right, guys. Goodbye.